And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel guys, hope you're all well. Before we do get into today's video, as always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. So guys, some transfer news for you this afternoon, or this morning in the UK, and that's in regards to Rangers making a transfer U-turn. Now of course this comes from Scottish media and some inside Rangers sources, so we'll discuss that in detail. Now, of course, in the build-up to the transfer window, we've already agreed and done one deal, that being Hefty, and we also brought you the news that the next deal that we were trying to work on was Jose Cordoba. Now, reports out in Bulgaria, reports out in Panama had stated that this deal was very close, but we have got a heads up this morning with regards to Scottish media and inside Rangers sources stating that the Jose Cordoba move is now off. It is off, and Rangers are now going to be pursuing different targets. Now this one for me is quite a gutting one, I suppose. I did like the look of this 22-year-old centre-back, and there had been murmurs around stating that Norwich had been interested in were potentially hijacking the deal. Now again, as stated at the time, I didn't know if those sources were credible, stating that Norwich were actually interested in or that there was a hijack in place. I know that sources close to his club were stating that wasn't true as such. However, what we're trying to see at this moment in time this morning is that Norwich have in fact actually hijacked the deal potentially, and Rangers aren't going to compete and are going to now pursue different options and different targets. Now, if Jose Cordoba, if that's the reason why Rangers are no longer pursuing him because he wants to go to Norwich, then that's absolutely fine. I don't care how good or talented is he going to be. If a player chooses Norwich City over Glasgow Rangers, then my goodness me, he's never going to make it in the game, unfortunately, because that move is suicidal. And that move is just showing that he doesn't have any ambition, really, to be perfectly honest. So probably a bullet dodge then if that's true, that he's choosing Norwich over Rangers. But then again, it has stated that Rangers have now ended their interest in the player and are now turning their attention to different centre-back options. And also credible sources have also stated that Rangers are, of course, agreeing a deal for Leon Balogun. Now, this is the most Rangers transfer news ever. A new, hot, sexy, young 22-year-old centre-back that we could have potentially got in the summer. Ended our interest in him and are now instead going to be offering a contract offer for Leon Balogun, 37-year-old. That's the Rangers' way of doing things by the sounds of things in our kind of recent history. But all jokes aside, as I stated, I do think Niels Cooper does have a black book there, and he's going through loads of different options. And again, look, you win some, you lose some in transfer windows, and you're never always going to get every single deal that you want over the line. But the thing was Niels Cooper and Philippe Clement, they will have a contingency plan in place of different players that they want to try and bring to the football club. So Jose Cordoba is not going to be an option for us. He's no longer coming to the football club, guys. But rest assured, we are pursuing different targets and are in the market to try and get some different targets or try and buy different players in this transfer window. We're still going to be going for a young centre-back. Reports are still indicating that we're going to be doing that this summer. But Jose Cordoba will not be a player that's coming to Rangers after speculation stating that he could be and that we were close to agreeing a deal. It's football, unfortunately. And to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know if it's Norwich have hijacked the deal. Again, some reports stating yes, some reports just stating that Rangers have ended their interest. I don't know, but either way, if he's going to fucking Norwich over Rangers, or if he chose Norwich over Rangers, then the boy has no ambition, and honestly, that's probably where he will be. That will be his ceiling for the rest of his career, will be at Norwich. So all the best for him there, down there in the Championship and stuff like that. If that's the case. If not, then as stated, it is what it is. We move on. But Rangers fans, do let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section below with regards to everything down there with regards to Jose Cordoba. Are you gutted that we're not going to be going in for the player? Did you like the look of the player? And what other centre-back targets would you like the club to go and pursue? Have you got an idea of a player that you would like to see join Rangers this summer? And how many players do we realistically need to sign this summer? As stated, it's interesting this this live stream, we can discuss a little bit more with regards to it. As stated, just let me know your thoughts on the whole transfer market down there in the live chat if you're watching this live, or in the comment section if you're watching on a replay. Who do you think and how many do you think Rangers need to bolster? Some fans are saying, what do you think of the Ryan Kent links? I haven't seen them, but if there is anything to do with Ryan Kent, then no way. He stunk the place out for the last year he was at the football club. And he hasn't really lit up the league in the Turkish Super League either, so absolutely not. Why are we always so public with our transfer targets? Well, it's just the modern age, my friend. Fabrizio Romano's, David Ornstein's, these kind of things. There's a proper footballing market for transfer news these days, and fortunately or unfortunately, whatever way you want to look at it, people can pay money to get information, sources and all these kind of things, and then they go out to the public. We live in a day and age where we want information quick, so that's probably the reason. It's not just Rangers that are doing that, by the way. It's not just Rangers that have their transfer news so open. Every single club in the world has their transfer news out there and open. But what I would say about Niels Koeppen is this is probably the only story at this moment in time that are that we've kind of been knowing about for a long time. I know see Hefty in January, but when Cortez came to the forefront, when Diomande came to the forefront, nobody really knew until we were actually signing the player, or a day before we were actually signing the player. So I think we have had our transfer information quite hush-hush recently, but this Jose Cordoba one, of course, has been well documented. For much of the season, there was reports that he was in attendance at the game against Kilmarnock, but as stated, he will no longer be joining Rangers. Rangers are going to be going for other targets, but I do want to echo on the fact that Leon Balogun, of course, will be we'll be getting a new contract as well. So all of that was very much true. Inside Rangers sources have confirmed that information as well, that Leon Balogun is going to be getting a contract offer. But as I said with Big Leon, I like him. I like his experience. I like what he brings to the football club, but he can't be our first choice centre-back going into next season. I still want us to explore and maybe bring in a few more, like a Jose Cordoba, which we're not going to get, but a sort of similar profile to him, young, hungry, these kind of things. Go with that way. Kylo Knight says, I'd like to take a couple of Scottish players in. Again, I would like a few Scottish players. You've seen how well they've done in Italy as well, but I don't want to litter our team full of Scottish players. I do think there are some good Scottish players there on the market, but I think we need to be covering at different bases. Having a bit of experience, having some homegrown talent that kind of get what the football club's all about, Scottish, understand everything, but then also have these kind of young foreign exports that are going to be the next big thing. I think a balance of that across the board is what our transfer strategy should be. Obviously, you can't have a team just full of 22-year-olds, but equally, you can't have a team full of 35-year-olds. We've been down that market recently. So, it is what it is. Who would you like out of the door, Jamie says. Mate, to be honest with you, I'd like everybody out of the door bar Jack Butland. Jack Butland, I would like to stay. I love Cortez. I like the look of Cortez. I like the look of Diomande. So I'd genuinely keep Butland, Diomande, Cortez. I think there's a place for Todd Cantwell. And that would probably be that. Rid van Jelmers. I like Rid van Jelmers as well. Maybe I've missed somebody out, but those 5 players are the people that I would say non-negotiable as such. Jack Butland, definitely want to stay. Diomande, Oscar Cortez, Rid van Jelmers, and who else did I say? Todd Cantwell as well. But apart from that, I'm open to all the rest of them going. Tavernier was my favourite player, as everybody knows, over the last 9 years. But it's the same old story. I used to love Nikica Jelavic back in the day, but would I have Nikica Jelavic in our team now? No. Do you know what I mean? Everybody has their sell-by date and everybody has to be moved on. Age and time doesn't wait for no man. So I do think Tavernier's had his day, especially after the last 6 months. I think it'd be good if we can get money for Tavernier to sell him this summer. I think it's time. We've always been victims of holding the bag, and I would never try and push the captain out. He should have went out in the best way, but I don't think we can be having him for another season, in my personal opinion. He's my favourite player, and I can still stand with that. Tavernier is my favourite player, but for me, there's no way we can be held with the bag. Because if there's interest from Saudi Arabia, get on the phone to Steven Gerrard. If you can offer £5 million, my goodness me, then that you'd be thinking. Because I think he's going to have a honking season next year. If Tavernier stays, he will have an absolute howler next year, and we'll be left with the bag. So I don't think he should be staying. But that's it, Rangers fans, guys. The headlines, of course, today is that Rangers have made a huge transfer U-turn and have ended their interest in Jose Cordoba. He will no longer be coming to the football club, despite reports stating it was very close. That comes from Scottish media and inside sources at Rangers. Also, following that, the information that we stated to you earlier this week or 2 days ago, Leon Balogun will, of course, be getting a contract. Rangers will now be pursuing different targets. We'll find out who these are a bit later on. But guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you all later. Take care for another briefing. Bye.